Welcome to the Dan Casper Show podcast, your chance to catch the full show anytime, anywhere. If you missed it live on the radio, no worries. We've got you covered with all the sports talk, opinions, interviews, and conversations from the show. From the Packers to the Brewers to the biggest stories in sports and around Wisconsin, it's all right here. This is the Dan Casper Show podcast. All right, third hour kicking off right now on this Wednesday morning, making the turn. We continue our conversation with Tyler from Slab Factory, talking some cards and such. And before we kind of get into it, Tyler, last time was gracious enough to donate a card for a giveaway. And it went on fire. A lot of people chiming in and wanting to get that card. So he has dropped off another one. It is an A.J. Hawk patch rookie card right there. So we did a trivia question for the James Starks one. It was, which college did he go to? Let's do another trivia. Yeah. Who's his famous brother-in-law?
I don't even know the answer to that question. Okay. I don't know the answer to that question.
His famous brother-in-law was a former first round draft pick. So,
all right.
Text over the answers. I'll tell you off.
I was going to say you're going to have to tell me after the fact.
I will. So if you know that answer, text it on over, 715-830-1912. So, Paul, we were talking a little bit about, kind of grading and such, and we were talking off air. I said, well, my kid's now been asking about, grading and such, and I'm not too familiar. I know a little bit about it in the process and such, but Paul actually has a question too. And he said, a question for Tyler, how do you feel about the cost of grading? Which companies give the best value for the buck? I have 100 cards at PSA right now.
Yeah, you're looking at a nice impending credit card charge with 100 cards at PSA. What do I think? So, first of all, just, kind of taking a step back, grading is, you're grading for one of two reasons. You're grading because you want the card in a slab, or and whether that's for your personal collection or because you just would rather protect it that way. The other reason would be to increase the value of the card by getting a good grade. Good grade is relative because if it's like a vintage card, a PSA 7, PSA 8, might be a great grade for that card. If it's a modern card, though, you might be breaking even if it comes back an 8 or a 9. And if it's a 10, that's where the value increase comes in.
Gotcha.
Right? So you have to evaluate your cards really closely when deciding whether or not you're going to send them in for grading. Look at sales of, what's my worst case? Is my worst case that I spend $30 and the card is worth exactly the same when it comes back? Or, is my worst case that, it is, or is it so clean that it's got that upside to be a PSA 10 and maybe double or triple the value depending on what the card is. So, that's step one. Cost of grading is, PSA did recently raise their costs. I understand it from the standpoint of they were pretty backed up. When you're backed up, and you're getting overwhelming volume of cards to get graded, I understand raising the cost, that you're deterring some of the low end grading, right? If it's only, excuse me, they used to, run specials and stuff. And if it's only $18 a card, then you're going to have people sending in a lot of lower end stuff.
Right.
Which is not a bad thing. It's nice. I mean, but if they're getting overwhelmed with, and they don't have enough graders for the amount of grading that's happening, then I understand raising the price. So PSA did recently raise prices. And then, the other part of the question is probably, what do I think of the cost of grading when it comes to upcharges? So PSA, and again, this is the main grading company throughout the hobby. It is, they have a pretty decent monopoly on grading. They upcharge based on value of card. So not to get too deep in the weeds, but if you send in a card at their bottom grading level, which covers up to $500 value cards.
Okay.
If it's a 10 and in that 10, it's actually worth $1,200, they will charge you more than that initial grading cost that, you submitted at.
Okay.
They end up charging you, I believe it's $60 for the next tier up from $25. And then so on and so forth. It goes up and up to the point that if you're grading something and it's worth $10,000, you're getting a $400, $500 upcharge on your grading. A lot of people don't like that,
right?
Which makes sense. It's a little bit PSA knowing that they dominate the market, so it's a little bit almost predatory on the collector. But I also think that it's their way of, again, limiting volume because they are just taking in too many cards to grade. Some people say expand your operation, have more graders, but this is how PSA is, really raking money in.
Right.
Yeah. These other grading companies do not do upcharges.
Okay.
Beckett and SGC and CGC, they do not do upcharges. So that's something to consider when looking at your grading.
So with PSA, if let's say you get a card, let's say it's the same exact card, same grade from PSA and SGC, does the PSA one tend to be worth more than because it's from PSA?
Yeah, and that's why people still send into PSA more than anywhere else.
Okay.
Even with those upcharges, even with, they are king in resale value. There are companies out there for both sports and for TCG that compete, but they do not measure up in terms of the resale value of said 10, right? There's also we could do this for hours because the other thing too is there's AI grading companies. Tag Grading is really more of a TCG grading company, but they do grade sports. It doesn't add much value at all in sports, but it adds some value in Pokemon. But it is an AI grading company, and they show you with full transparency how they got the grade that they got, which is really cool to see, right?
Yeah.
PSA does not give you that information. They don't tell you why your card got a 7, why your card got an 8. But then, and that's also PSA is human error. You might send in a card one time and get an 8, crack the slab, send it in again and get a 10 the next time. You don't know if you're going to catch a grader on a bad day. You don't know what's going to happen. So it is a bit of a random sort of situation. There's human error involved. There's human ego involved.
Right.
So, but PSA is king as far as the resale value is concerned.
Is it better? I don't know if this was something I heard a while ago to send it in bulk instead of just one at a time. Is there a difference in pricing, or is that?
Well, if you grade with so we take shop submissions.
Okay.
So if you as someone in the community wants to grade a card, but you're I don't even know where to start because you have to get a membership with PSA, or you have to have an account, and then when you send it, you're paying for the insurance and shipping on top of you also have to meet submission minimums. If certain companies, you have to pay a certain amount more because you're not sending in 20 cards. If you submit with the shop, we are what you would normally pay, I believe, is $24.99. With the shop, you're paying $29.99. That's covering your insurance and shipping costs in addition. And we are sending out once a month at the end of the month. So we send out 100 to 250, 300 cards at a time, depending on what our customers are submitting with us. Shop's not really making much on that. It's really more of a service to the customer because, we want people to, work with us. And, so we, when those cards are going out for grading, you don't have to submit 20 at a time. You can pop in, drop a card off. 2 weeks later, you can pop in, drop 2 cards off. We have a sheet that you fill out. We reach out when it's back from grading. So that would be, what I would say. If you're doing it on your own, you might have to meet some submission minimums.
Gotcha. So for me, if Hudson had one, it'd just go over to you guys and be here you go. This is what Hudson wants graded.
And then we'd reach out and let you know. Yeah.
Oh, that's really easy then. So.
Yeah, and it's funny too, because it does take a while usually. PSA is pretty backed up. It's 3-4 month wait. So when you submit with PSA and it takes that long, we do have our customers kind of going hey, where's my card? But, we don't have any control over that. Obviously, we just reach out when they're back.
When did because I remember when I was a kid, grading and such wasn't that big of a deal. When did that really kind of skyrocket?
It's a good question. Before I got back into it, there was some, certainly some more grading going on, but it got really backed up during COVID. Just like a lot of the hobby stuff, it really popped off. I remember sending cards for the first time back in 2020 or 2021 in for grading, and it took 6 months to get back because they didn't have the infrastructure. They weren't ready for the volume that was coming.
Right.
So it really started big during COVID, and then after that. It did kind of tail off a little bit. A couple of grading companies came and went, in terms of it being kind of a niche grading company. Really, the kings in the space are PSA, and then a tier below that you've got your CGC Beckett, and you could argue SGC in there as well, and they all kind of serve different purposes. To be clear, we send in with PSA and CGC. We'll also, if like you have a special case, we might be able to send in with SGC or Beckett, but we don't really offer that much. But like all of these serve different purposes. CGC is more of a TCG value bump rather than like if you send your sports card into CGC. Where and same with something like tag grading. But then like if you're looking at SGC, where the best value bump is like vintage baseball or vintage sports in general. For some reason, SGC vintage sells pretty well.
Okay. Because not to interrupt, because I'll just tell you right now, because I wanted, last time I talked to you, I was like, I want that card, like just a card that is my, go-to. And I finally pulled the trigger. I'm a big Don Hudson fan. So I purchased a 1955 Don Hudson Topps.
Yep.
And hearing you talk about that, SGC was the graded. On there. So I'm like, okay, now that you just said that with the vintage, I'm like, okay, that makes it a lot more sense. Like, why wasn't that one PSA? But okay, that just kind of connects it a little bit. So.
And it's hard to say why with some of these, but it's just what people have gotten used to. SGC with vintage, and then like PSA and BGS both have sports and TCG, cachet, so to speak. They both they work for both, and But PSA is the biggest value, ad for any card if it gets a 10, But like it's also very different depending on the card. You have to kind of do your research a little bit, or at least come talk to us, because like, I'll just share this, a little show and tell. This is a Griffey that we have at the shop right now. It's a 1989 Bowman Griffey, so it's like his prospect card.
Okay.
And it is a PSA 9. So like second highest grade you can get, right? PSA 9. And that card is worth about $35. It's barely the cost of grading, right? So like that card right there in a 10 is worth 200 plus.
Oh, wow.
And that's why some people are sending those in hoping to get that 10. But if it gets a 9 or less, you're not even breaking even, really.
Right.
So like if you're doing it on a dollar, like a value basis, that's where it's like you got to know that what you're sending in is, has a chance. For what it's worth, when I look over this PSA 9, it is a really clean copy of this card. So, like, I understand why the person sent it in and hoped for a 10. But, hard to say.
Somebody wants it. They're already chiming in. So
someone wants that. Yeah.
Somebody wants that.
Yeah, stop on in. It's going to be back in the case after I drop it off.
So when these companies look at grades, what exactly are they looking for? So, like the 10 is the perfect and the 9, is it centering? Is it cuts? Like what are these different things that they're looking for? Because maybe from my eye, I'm like, that looks like a perfect card.
Yeah.
But it might be an 8 or something.
Yeah. And it once again kind of depends on if it's, for example, like vintage, these rules are out the window. But like on modern and stuff like that, you're looking at, corners. So are the corners on the card clean? I didn't bring a good raw card for us to use as an example, but I'll just look at this Griffey, for example. Are the corners of the card clean, right? Are they sharp? Are they crisp? Or do they have a soft rounded edge? Okay. So that's one of the things that you're grading on. You're also grading on the centering. So this Griffey is pretty centered. You can see that the card itself is centered nicely in the frame of the picture. You can see that this Euchre that I brought in.
Nice. Yeah.
This is a 1965 Topps Bob Euchre. You can tell that this Euchre card is not centered, right? Pretty obviously not centered.
Oh, yep.
So it's not really centered within the frame of the card.
Yep.
So centering is another thing. You're also looking at surface, and you're looking at edges. Now, edges is kind of like corners. Is there whitening on the edges? Is it kind of peeling up on a chrome card? And then when it comes to the surface, do you have scratches? Do you have like scuffs? Are there dimples in a chrome card or a paper card that like, is it pressed in somewhere? Is there a thumbnail indent? Those are the things you're looking for to say whether something is worth grading. With sports, it can be complicated because every set is different too. So like the centering on one might look different than the centering on another. But like with Pokemon, for example, pretty simple. The back border, the front border, those are there. So how centered is it? and it's very easy to kind of check the surface and see if it's clean.
So I know you got to get going here soon, but you mentioned a little bit earlier the Kobe and the Jordan market here. Why exactly is that now all of a sudden kind of exploding? Is it because Bam scores 83 above Cody, so Kobe's name's in the news?
No, actually, this was more of I do think that right now we're in a bit of a basketball drought for product.
Okay.
Because this is just what I think. This is not necessarily why it's happening. Jordan's market, Kobe's market, these high-end guys, their markets are always consistent. I do think with the NBA stuff right now, though, there's a bit of a retail drought because Topps was, I don't think, as prepared as Panini was, because year over year they were doing the same thing over and over. Mm-hmm. There's retail product and there's hobby product, right? So like hobby boxes are the more expensive ones. They are higher end. They are what you would find at your local card shop, but not what you'd find at Target, right? Retail product is blasters, megas. I know these words mean nothing as I'm just saying them into a microphone, but a blaster box or a mega box, these are the boxes that you see at Target, right? Hanger packs, things like that. With NBA right now, they don't have any because they basically released for retail products. They released Topps Flagship and Topps Chrome, sold out of it. And since then, all they've released are hobby box products. Topps Midnight, Topps Finest, Topps 3 or whatever that is. Just a crazy overpriced product. It's honestly ridiculous. So they have not released a retail level product in a little bit. And that Bowman's going to change that, which will be nice. But I think that a lot of people who would normally be putting, either money or attention into the newest product, the newest cards, are turning their heads toward, there's a Michael Jordan called a card called a Starlight Jordan, and the light is LITE because it's got like a Miller Lite logo at the bottom.
Okay, yep.
It's like a All-Star Game promo type card from. Now I'm blanking on the year, but I want to say it's like 89 or 88 or something like that. And that card, I saw a sale of a PSA 3. I saw a sale for like $1,500, I think it was, right? Of a PSA, or no, it was a PSA 4. I just saw a PSA 3 go for $2,300. And it's because people are realizing the scarcity of some of these high-end Jordan and Kobe's, and they're just grabbing them up as much as they can in this sort of window of nothing else going on.
Okay.
A hobby is a very finicky, like, I'm going to get bored if you let me look away for a second type group.
Okay.
And so they're just buying up stuff like crazy. And it's also a snowballing thing. Like Shohei's market is probably quadrupled since January. Really? And no one really knows why, other than like everyone's just trying to grab at this stuff. Okay. And so I think some people started to buy some of the high end stuff. And then all of a sudden Shohei's card market, everyone's like, oh, I got to grab me a Shohei. And now his stuff is going for, again, like 3-4 times what it did 2 months ago. And I can't even really point at a specific reason other than baseball's about to start. And he's maybe the best we've ever seen do it.
Right.
But
man. And then you got, like, I just saw, I didn't watch it, but I saw some dude, I think he's on Shark Tank, was wearing like the 3 logo man as a necklace or something at the Oscars.
Kevin O'Leary.
Yeah, like that. So it's like,
something like that. It is what it is. I think like it's really easy to just like point at it and be like, that's really corny. And it is. So I'm going to do the easy thing and point at that and say it's corny. But I do think that like, if you're in this collecting hobby, it's a cool sort of like, to see those big cards in the wild, but also someone like him, he's out there saying, well, it could be worth 30 million now. And everyone's like, where are you getting that number? Like there was a public auction, 4 years ago or 3 years ago or whatever that says otherwise, so it's just, people like that who are just in it financially. I'm not saying that they are that they aren't allowed to be in it for that purpose,
right?
But they aren't really the people that speak for the collectors. I think that's very much how people around the hobby feel.
Right. Man, we could go on and on and on.
We really could.
For this stuff. So, but you're going to be coming on more often now too. So that's going to be exciting, and we'll definitely not have a shortage of topics.
Yes, I know. We'll definitely have something to dive into. I came in today like, I'm not sure what we're going to talk about. And then I just talked at you for 30 minutes.
It goes by fast, doesn't it?
It does. It sure does.
Really quick again, if you want to get that AJ Hawk rookie patch card, just text in the answer to the trivia question. Who is his famous brother-in-law? And we got quite a few of you chime in with the correct answer. So I'll tell you who that is.
All right.
Right when I shut the mic off.
Sounds good.
Again, text those on over, 715-830-1912. Slab Factory hours again. Where can people find you?
Yeah, just some fun news. We will be opening on Mondays in the summer, which is great. So we'll be open every day of the week in the summer. But until then, we are open at noon Tuesday through the weekend, or on the weekend we're open at 11, and then we close at 7 or 8 depending on the night. Check our hours on Google. But you can stop in with cards that you want to grade, cards that you want to ask questions about. Mm-hmm. We will answer questions all day for you guys, and that's really the main thing that we're here for when it comes to that hobby education. So
awesome.
Yeah, stop in at Slab Factory.
Tyler, thanks, man. Appreciate it. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, of course, Dan. Thank you so much.
All right, we got to take a quick break. Back with plenty more coming up after these quick words. Tax season is here, and what about that refund check? Hey, it's more than just maybe some extra spending money. It's an opportunity. So this year, why not invest it right where you live? Upgrade your home with a beautiful new floor from Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire. Whether you've been dreaming about some warm, comfortable carpet, maybe some durable luxury vinyl planks, how about the Rigid Max flooring or some waterproof options perfect for those busy families? Maybe you're redoing the man cave because you got a huge card collection and, well, you need to upgrade that floor. Hey, Carpet City Flooring Center can help you out. Your tax return can go a long ways towards transforming the look and feel of your home and your space. And at Carpet City Flooring Center, you'll find expert guidance, professional installation, and flooring options for every budget. Don't let that refund disappear on things you might not remember next month. Put it towards something that you will see and enjoy every single day. Stop on in to Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire and turn your tax return into a home upgrade that you will love for years to come. Again, a big thanks to Tyler from Slab Factory for joining us for our Wednesday Inside the Hobbies segments. We're going to be catching up with Tyler every, maybe like once or twice a month for our Inside the Hobbies segment. So hopefully you all enjoy that. Just kind of change of pace. I mean, it's the sports world, right? Collecting and such. So a lot of you that said, hey, we should do something like that. So, but if you got any questions for Tyler next time, send them on over. 715-830-1. I'm getting sidetracked. 715-830-1912. Excuse me. So, because we've got quite a few texts coming in for that AJ Hawk rookie patch card that Tyler just donated. Trivia question for you to get entered to win this, because we got a lot of you with the correct answer. So we're going to put you in a random generator. The order that you texted in, that's going to be your number. I'll put all those numbers in, and we'll just randomly pick a number. But the trivia question, if you want a chance, who is AJ Hawk's brother-in-law, famous brother-in-law? All right. Text the answer on in to that Shoe Doctors bullpen line, 715-830-1912. Good stuff, though. Big thanks again to Tyler for stopping by. I think I learned something new every time about all that stuff. So continue to send me your Mike Star markets. Am I wrong? I saw Brandon on YouTube a little bit earlier chiming in and saying, let me scroll it up so I get the right one here. But Brandon says, am I wrong? All Big Ten Final Four. Illinois, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Michigan State. All right. Is that what you're doing, Brad? Is that what you're doing on our bracket challenge on Sports Talk? I hope so, man. Do it. All right. Keep sending those out. Am I wrong? Also, your Hy-Vee game changers. All right. Who's your game changer? What was your game changer? You can make your picks from maybe the World Baseball Classic. Maybe it was a trade. Maybe it was a free agent move, or whatever the case may be, or play. What was your game changer? All right. Submit those on over too. Like I said, we got to play a little catch up here as we're a little bit past the bottom of the hour. So we're going to be taking a break here in just a minute or two. But I do want to get back to some more baseball talk here. For all of you who did watch the World Baseball Classic, thumbs up, 2 thumbs up. Are there any changes you'd like to see going forward? How much did you enjoy it? You like it? Love it? Get rid of it? Give me your feedback. If Rob Manfred got a hold of you, got your number, and said, hey, man, or hey, girl, what would you like to do different? What do you think we need to do different? Is there anything? Would you say, this is what I would do different? Or would you say, man, keep it the same. This was awesome. Same. What would you tell Rob Manfred? All right, we'll take a quick break and then get back on track here a little bit time-wise. So we'll be right back after these quick words. Join us this Friday, just a couple days away, as we will be at the VFW Post 305 for a little hoops skip day action. We'll do the program from 6A to 10A over at the VFW Post 305. And then the fun starts, the real fun starts from 11 to 3. The party starts, I should say. We got some free beverages. We've got some prizes to be handing out, all while we kick back, relax, and take the day to watch college hoops. So, or maybe state basketball too, because that's going to be going on. Men's boys high school state basketball will tip off starting tomorrow. So, but some of the games will be on during the same time too on Friday. So, if you have the day off, like I know a lot of people usually take the Friday off, maybe even Thursday and Friday off to watch some college basketball, looking for somewhere to post up and hang out and watch the games, you can join us at the VFW Post 305, located 1300 Star Avenue in Eau Claire. Continue to send me those answers. I will announce the winner. I'll announce the winner for this AJ Hawk card coming up in the next hour. All right. So the deadline to chime in with your answer, to text it on in, it's going to be at 9 o'clock. That way I have time to put all your numbers in the random generator, and that way I'll randomly pick a number and such. So we got Mike says, the World Baseball Classic is unbelievable. It has never disappointed. It's enjoyable to watch the pride teams and fans have. Every game feels like Game 7 of the World Series. I wouldn't change a thing. Well, I would find guys like Bryce Harper for making statements that it's not the Olympics, but even he could not deter how much I enjoyed it. Baseball is king. Another texter, don't have a name, says simply loved the WBC. So, well, you can tell Bryce Harper still was in it. I mean, if you watch the awards after the game and they were presented the medals, I mean, he got the silver medal placed over him, and he took 5 steps and took it off right away because he was definitely disappointed and such, like a lot of those players were. But I agree. It was the atmosphere, and I'll keep saying this. You get players to buy in, you can tell. Players aren't buying in. They don't really care, i.e. all-star games, NBA, and football. Fans don't really care. But when players buy in and they care and they go out there with the purpose to win and play their butts off to win, yeah, you get results like that from the World Baseball Classic. Am I wrong for saying, if we just look at tournaments, playoffs, in every sport, Olympics, whatever you want to throw into this thing, not regular season games, we'll throw in World Cup, we'll throw in all this stuff. Am I wrong for thinking that World Baseball Classic is a top 5 world event or just, sports event? Take away regular seasons. So take away the Major League Baseball regular season, the NHL regular season, NFL regular season, NBA, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Am I wrong for thinking World Baseball Classic is a top 5 event? If you had to come up with your top 5, I might have to write this down for a podcast episode, but if you could come up with your top 5 sports events that are not regular season, and let's take away like the draft, and let's just take away that, like, competition wise. So you could throw in the Masters if you wanted, because that's an event. It's a 4-round golf tournament and such. But what would be your top 5? I would have to think about that for a little bit. So I might make that a pod. But send me your answers so I can include them on an episode. What are your top 5 sports, tournaments, playoffs, events that are not regular season, and they're not things like the NFL draft? Like competitive things. I think I would have the World Baseball Classic, I think, in my top 5. March Madness would be in there. You could throw the NFL playoffs / Super Bowl in there if you want. Baseball playoffs, World Series, World Cup, Olympics, winter, summer. What else are we going to throw into this for consideration? College football playoffs? Little League World Series? College baseball World Series? Softball? What other one should we throw into this for consideration, for nominations? What do you got? Maybe if we have to, we can narrow it maybe to the top 3. We should have plenty of stuff. I mean, you throw in the Stanley Cup playoffs, you hear everybody all the time. And I agree with this. Stanley Cup playoffs are a different animal, man. I know a lot of people, and I'm kind of guilty of this too, but I know a lot of people that casually watch regular season when it comes to the NHL, but when it gets to the playoffs, like my buddy, my best friend Jake, and I remember this in college all the time. I don't know if I probably could count on one hand how many times he watched a regular season hockey game, but if it was playoffs, dude would pass out on the couch watching playoff hockey. And that was just like his thing, playoff hockey, Stanley Cup hockey. And I get it. I totally get it. It's different. But I think, World Baseball Classic, I'm hooked. It's always been good. It's always been some great moments. But for some reason, like this year, and maybe it's just because I watched some of the games with my kid, and he got hooked to it and excited about it. Maybe because part of it, too, is like, hey, had some Brewers making big plays or being big parts of these teams. Had a little bit of like, oh, that guy's on my favorite team. It was awesome. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I don't think I would change anything. I really wouldn't. Maybe the only thing is, do you try to find a manager who is like a former manager or maybe a bench coach or something like that? Maybe. No offense to DeRosa, but is that something you look for? So, and that's the thing is like, my kid, he's only 8. He'll be 9, but he was cheering for Team Venezuela last night. And before anybody jumps down my neck, it's because his favorite player, Contreras, was on Team Venezuela. So that's why he's more of that mindset yet. Like, oh, that's my favorite. And then Jackson Cheerio's on a team. Yeah, I'll cheer for her. I know Bryce Strang's on Team USA, Dad, but my favorite players, Contreras, and Jackson Chierio is one of my favorite players too. So and Contreras' brother's on there too. So I'm going for it. I have no problem with that. He's doing it for the love of the game because that's the players he loves and such. So it was just cool to see him get pumped up and such with that too. So, all right, we got to take our final break. But think about that. Like, what are some of your favorite sports events that are not regular season? Like, throw in the Winter Olympics, throw in the Summer Olympics, throw in the World Cup, throw in World Baseball Classic, college football playoffs, March Madness. What are like your top 3, top 5? Let me know, all right? Take a quick break and we'll wrap up the third hour coming up after these quick words. Looking for reliable auto service right here in the Chippewa Valley? Hey, you got a couple options, and they're right here in Eau Claire, and they're both AJM Automotive with 2 convenient locations. AJM Automotive makes it easy to get the care that your vehicle deserves, whether it's routine maintenance, brake work, engine repairs, or diagnostics that you can trust, maybe even a new set of tires. Friendly experts, honest advice, quality service. That's what gets you back on the road safely, thanks to AJM Automotive. Check out their website, ajmautomotiveservices.com, for a list of services, locations, and such. And don't forget to follow their Facebook page, all right? So, and maybe with the latest dumping of snow, it's a good reminder for maybe next year. Plan ahead and get AJM Automotive to plow out your driveway and such. Sign up for that for next year, especially after that latest dumping. How many of you did? I did not enjoy that. A lot of you enjoy it. So they provide those services as well, and they do small engine work too. So, all right, I know you're probably not thinking about that, but it's gonna get warmer here, so pretty soon it'll be lawn mowing season. Might want to think about that in the back of your mind. So, all right. Got a few minutes left to the top of the hour. Again, final call. If you want that AJ Hawk rookie patch card donated to us by Tyler from Slab Factory, got to text in the answer to this question. Who's his famous brother-in-law? Who's AJ Hawk's brother-in-law? All right, text it in, and then during the news update at the top of the hour, I'll put all the people who tried. So you get assigned a number in the order that I got your text. So putting all those numbers into a random generator, and it'll just randomly pick a number, and that's going to be the winner. So simple as that. If you're selected as the winner, I'll shoot you a text back. That way I can get it to you. So, but another texter here says, after pool play, my little brother Brandon told me no one was beating the Dominican Republic. I told him I would bet him $5 if he would take Dominican, I would take the field. He said, no, baseball is too unpredictable. He ain't wrong. All right. I mean, look at Team Italy, right? What? How many major leaguers did they have, or major league experienced players up there? Like just a handful, a couple of them, and they went undefeated up until they ran into Team Venezuela. So there you go. Not everybody knows that, Bloomer Tony. Tyler, who donated this, didn't know the answer. I had to tell him off the air. So back off, man. Not everybody knows that. So trying to make it simple, too, so people could chime in and answer it in. So, okay, we'll talk some more hoops coming up your way next hour. Bucks falling last night to the Cleveland Cavaliers. That's not even the worst of it. Giannis going to be missing some time again, missing at least a week with that knee injury. Now has a knee injury, a hyperextended knee. Are we going to see Giannis again in a Bucks uniform before the end of the season? What do you think? Yay or nay? According to sources, reports out there, yep, he plans on playing. He's not done. But how much do we believe that? How much do you believe that? So, I know you're just joking, Bloomer Tony. I got to give you a hard time back, all right? I got to give you a hard time back, man. You go on vacay and such, come back here and all that, and you bring cold weather with you or something like that, snow. Got to give you a hard time too, man. So, all right. Yeah, good stuff. Fun stuff. Continue to send me your Am I Wrongs and your Hy-Vee game changers and such. I'll get back to a little football talk coming up next hour here too. Packers yesterday, Ed Policy announcing that Bob Harlan is going to have his name attached to the Lambeau Field facade inside Lambeau Field, which I think is absolutely 100% all deserves it, probably even more. I think he deserves more just from the NFL and the Pro Football Hall of Fame, to be honest with you. I think he deserves more recognition from the NFL, from the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I'll get into that coming up in the next hour. I'm going to make the case. There's a handful of Packers, whether they're players or front office people or executives, there's a handful of Packers that still deserve proper recognition from the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And Bob Harlan's one of them, and maybe at the top of the list. And I just don't know if we're going to get that proper recognition from them. So, but I think Bob Harlan 100% deserves it. 100%. We'll get back to some more of your texts coming up here, too. So we'll hit that up. I got to minimize texting because we got a few more texts coming in here for that answer for that. A lot of you want that AJ Hawk rookie patch card. I don't blame you. So if you missed that conversation with Tyler, don't forget, we've got essentially two podcasts now. We got the Man Cave podcast, which is all new, original content on there. But I think I'm going to throw that interview with Tyler on there, too. However, we've got the DK Show podcast, which is every hour. Every episode is every hour from the show. So if you missed hour one is up right now. If you missed hour 2 is up right now. If you missed hour 3, which was a big chunk of our chat with Tyler, that'll be up here shortly after 9 o'clock. Same with hour 4. So now if you missed it, it's broken down by hours, or you could go back to the YouTube chat too, or YouTube video stream on Man Cave TV and check that out. But that is, we got a couple of those over there. So if you have a quick second, hot minute, go on Spotify, go on Apple, follow, subscribe to the pod, DK Show Pod, and the Man Cave Podcast too. I uploaded a brand new episode of the Man Cave Podcast earlier this morning, so that is also up there for you. But send me again your top 3, top 5, or just your favorite events, sports events that are not regular season based. I think off the top of my head is March Madness in no particular order right now. And I'm going to think about this a little bit more and rank them for a future episode. But I'm going to go March Madness. I'm going to go World Baseball Classic. I'm going to go Masters. Now, I know that one's kind of hard. I mean, we could throw a NASCAR race in there too, right? Daytona. Because I feel like Daytona, a lot of people, even if you're not a diehard NASCAR fan, people tune into Daytona 500. Same with, I think, the non-diehard football fans. They'll watch Super Bowl. So I'm just kind of looking for your favorite events. And the Olympics, obviously, in their summer, winter, World Cup. I'm going to go March Madness, World Baseball, Masters. If I do top 5, I got to think about the next 2. Because there's some, now you got a lot to choose from yet over there. So I got to think about that for a little bit. Those are the 3 that are at the top of my mind. And they're all like happening right after the other, right? World Baseball Classic just got done. Now we got March Madness starting. And then we've got the Masters coming up here really quick too.